Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here to start off the triathlon for Literary Gladiators for the month of February. And that means that during our triathlon, we are going to try and upload a video every day during the month of February. This will include general discussions every Friday. I'm going to be contributing plenty of individual videos. Charlie, Dan, Ari, Jesse, Tori, and we have a few other special guests that we have planned that are planning to contribute videos. But to kick off our triathlon, I'm going to be conducting my 11th Pay It Forward on Booktube tag, because this is one of my favorite things to do on my channel. I really like to talk about some of my favorite lesser-known booktubers that I feel deserve more subscribers. And two, the demonetization of YouTube in general is really bound to have a great impact, where only those that have at least 1,000 subscribers and at least 4,000 hours of viewership within the last year will be eligible to monetize their channel and make profit off of it. And this takes effect on February 20th. So with that in mind, I'm going to be stretching out the requirements of the Pay It Forward on Booktube tag for this particular version. Usually I measure based off of roughly 500 subscribers or less. This time I'm not really going to be looking at the number, but all of these names have under 1,000 subscribers, which is only fitting because hopefully all 10 of these people that I'm going to mention, that they can reach 1,000 subscribers by February 20th. So let's get started. The first person that I wanted to mention is somebody that I feel is incredibly underrated, but I think that she is the quintessential booktuber, Renaissance woman, nerd, librarian, and that is Tessa from Tessas Library. Anytime I watch her videos, I feel as if I'm getting this great spasm of enjoyable information. Everything that she talks about, she gives a complete synopsis of the topic of interest, whether it be a book that she's reviewing or a genre, whether it be a genre at large like fantasy or a specific topic like Antarctica, which she's very passionate about Antarctica, and in particular Ernest Shackleton. I think that she'll tell you the same by the time you watched one or two of her videos. If you're to make a measurement of a book discussion, book review, book haul, wrap-up, or library tour, or bookshelf tour, you can take that and expect an extra stuffed version from Tessa's channel. It's like if you're looking for a piece of pizza, Tessa is guaranteed to give you an extra cheese pizza, and it's worth eating. Next person I want to bring up is Shawn from Shawn the Book Maniac. I think that Shawn is a great innovator. I think that he is an innovator in the way that Adrian from Strip Covered Lit is, the way that Steve Donahue happens to be, I'm probably going to mention Steve Donahue's name a few times in this video, but he has done a lot to impact the Booktube community for the better. But I would say that Shawn the Book Maniac, if there's one great contribution that he's made, and saying that in itself is difficult because he's made plenty of great contributions, it would be the grab and gag tag. His original name for it is pull 10 books off your shelf and talk about them tag, but after a little bit of construction, it became the grab and gab. And as I mentioned in my version of the video, you can do this so many times with so many different random books, whether you have read them or not, because all you have to do is talk about them. And I think that Shawn the Book Maniac, to me, comes off as being that pleasant and confident instructor that you like attending their classes. He's very much like a Dr. Bordelon, per se. He enjoys literary fiction, classics, nonfiction, and a little bit of everything in between. Next one that I want to mention is Rebecca and Sarah from T-Hags. They are in the same kind of vein as Sue and Megan from the restricted section, and Amber and Sarah from the Drunken Library. And I feel that while both pairs over there primarily concentrate on beer as their drink of choice, Rebecca and Sarah have a bit more of a tea party-like setting, but by no means do they hold back on any details. Watching their videos is so much fun. They are so creative with what they're doing. Their chemistry is perfect. And I think that they are revolutionary to the Booktube community. I really admire when a channel with more than one participant takes form and is able to succeed, because it is so challenging just to get people together and film a great deal of content. I can definitely attest to that, but when we produce good content, there's something really special about it, and it's just a great feeling to be able to succeed as a channel with multiple people. Next one that I want to mention is Mark from Richardson Reads, and I would say that he is very much like Steve Donahue, only his interests are a little bit more casual. I think that Steve Donahue has a bit more scholarly interests, one that a college professor may look into a bit more. But I feel that Mark puts a lot into his videos. I enjoy watching everything he puts together. One of my favorite videos of his was when he did the cheese book tag that I created back in 2015, and he actually paid a visit to the Cabot shop in Vermont, where they make Cabot cheddar cheese, and he was showing us all the different varieties of Cabot. I personally enjoy the sun-dried tomato and basil, but the ones that he was showing us, you don't necessarily find them in your supermarket every day, and that is what you would expect from a quintessential Cabot store. Next one that I want to talk about is Lukash from Rapacious Books, and my main viewership of his videos were his renditions of my foodie book tags. However, you can definitely tell that he is scholarly, intelligent, and he really brings something special and unique to the Booktube community. His interests are literary fiction and classics, and he especially has a great deal of admiration for Shakespeare. Next one that I want to talk about is Emily from Emily Boone. Her videos are short, sweet, and to the point, but I get a lot out of them. I think that she's very well-rounded with her interests. She's very creative with how she executes her videos, and one of her memorable moments was when she took a field trip to the hotel that inspired the Overlook Hotel in Stephen King's The Shining. And that really made for a special video that was really quite an experience to follow along in her footsteps as she gave us a tour of the hotel. And the hotel of note was the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, where she lives in the state of Colorado. So it's quite interesting that when Stephen King randomly picked a setting for The Shining, he happened to choose an area that somebody would take into account and respond to with their own tour. Very reflective of how the War of the Worlds, when Orson Welles was randomly selecting an area where he wanted to have the alien invasion set, he picked a small town in New Jersey to conduct his invasion. And during that time period, people were really taking that seriously when it was announced on the radio that one night. Next booktuber I want to talk about is somebody that I've really been watching on a consistent basis, and that is Rebecca from Rapacious Reads. Rebecca's interests are classics, literary fiction, and romance. Romance is her junk food, her fast food, the way that horror, speculative fiction, and the occasional comic book is for me. But that's a good thing, because Rebecca always has a great deal to contribute in her videos on whatever it is that she is talking about. She's a very confident intellectual, and sometimes her attitude comes off as being a bit snarky, but it's in a good way. I feel that she is well aware of how intelligent she is, and that makes for an enjoyable video. I feel that if I were to compare her to a cheese, it would be aged provolone, because aged provolone has a very noteworthy and strong scent to it, but we know for sure that it is a great accompaniment to an Italian sandwich, to an antipasto. When you melt it and mix it with Chianti, aged provolone knows that it is a star. And Rebecca from Rapacious Reads knows for sure that she has a lot that she can accomplish in the Booktube community, and there's a lot that she will accomplish in the Booktube community. Another Steve Donahue mention. Steve Donahue is her favorite Booktuber. Next one that I want to talk about is someone that is really lesser known, but she's really just making her entrance into the Booktube community. And that is Danielle from This Is Danielle. Danielle spent a lot of time talking about video games on her channel. She would analyze video games critically, the way that one would critically approach a work of literature. And it's really unique when we examine video games as being a form of art very much like the cinema has been for decades. And I think that Danielle does a great job critically approaching whatever it is that she's talking about, whether it be a book. She did a really amazing critical approach to The Muppets Christmas Carol and how she connected it to the original Charles Dickens work. And after watching that video, she really made a strong argument in favor of Muppets Christmas Carol being such a masterpiece in the cinema and in children's entertainment, and making it look like a very worthy film. Danielle is very well-rounded, and she is a perfectionist in regard to putting forth the best possible content that she possibly can, and that makes for great viewership. Next one that I want to talk about is Shasta from Hooked on Books. Originally her channel was Shaza Fantastic Reads, but she's since changed the name. I would say that if I were to describe her, I think that she's laid back, but likable and intelligent. And while it's a bit of a challenge to pinpoint how one may describe her channel, I would say that it is easy to enjoy. I think that she's closest to Vanessa from Chbosky when it comes to the tone of her channel. There's a bit more of a intro and outro visual effects to Shaza's videos, while Vanessa's is just acoustic, her talking to the camera. But Shaza is nevertheless very, I think that she really puts everything into what it is that she's doing. She enjoys literary fiction, nonfiction, classics, and I think that she really does a great job with her quiet strength as far as her videos go. And the last one that I want to talk about is Laura from Laura Pora. And I first came across Laura when she did the Pumpkin Book Tag. And from there I saw that she talks about so much. She's very well-rounded. She's very versatile with her content and material. And I thought that recently I watched a video of hers where she talked about horror anthologies, and I like how she is digging into a genre that has so much below the surface, but people don't necessarily go below that surface the way that they should be, because horror fiction has so much to offer. The headlining authors like Stephen King, Dean Koontz and Anne Rice are magnificent writers, but you have so many great underrated authors that write horror fiction or works of that nature that are definitely worth checking out. And I definitely want to check out more from Laura's channel. I'm going to leave links down below to all of these booktubers, and I'm also going to leave links below to the previous Pay It Forward on Booktube tags that I put together. If I mentioned you in this video, I encourage you to pay it forward as well, and maybe name 5 booktubers with under 1,000 subscribers that you think that people should check out. And I'll definitely check out those videos and in turn check out those channels. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more of the videos on our channel. And for now, and as always, I encourage you to keep reading.